Hi, it's the Hungry Hippie, and those of you who have followed my blog for a little while now are familiar with something I'm going to talk about tonight, kind of my own little public service announcement. We're going to talk a little bit more about type 2 diabetes, and in specific, we're going to talk about blood sugar testing. How's this food related? How am I going to spin this into a video worthy of your time? Well, a lot of diabetics test themselves either right before or right after a meal. So you may see someone do this in public at a restaurant or somewhere else. I myself test 3 times a day, either once in the morning, once about 2 to 3 hours after lunch, once about 2 to 3 hours after dinner.
And you track your readings, correct?
I do indeed. It's not enough to just do them for purposes of your doctor. It's important to keep a log too. Now, what I'm going to show you tonight is I'm going to go through the process of showing you everything that I use to test, how I test it, and then how I record it afterwards. It's really important that you test and test often. And testing in public is sometimes that's just how that's going to have to happen. Sometimes it's a matter of because you're eating out. Sometimes, you want to test at home, but you can't necessarily make it home in time to test when you like to test.
You think you're going to be home and you don't
Yeah,
make it home.
and you don't. So I'm going to show you, for starters here, this is my package that I got from my pharmacist, as paid for by my insurance, and it's small, it's compact. I chose supplies that I can take with me anywhere. So this little black bag, if you see me with this out, no, I'm not doing drugs. Try to keep from using drugs. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you everything that's inside here. We're going to kind of do a little unboxing for this.
So you take this with you everywhere?
Everywhere. And everything that's in here is ready to go as much as possible. And the reason for that is if I get to feeling bad somewhere and I really need to check my blood sugar quickly, there's a minimum of activity needed to do that. And more importantly as well is that if someone for some reason has to help me check my blood sugar,
everything's ready for them.
It's ready for them, and it's as simple a process as it can be. And it's not a complicated process, as we're going to find out right now. So I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to show you everything that's inside it and lay it out, and then I'm going to use it to take my blood sugar. Now then, as you can see, it's a neat little thing here, and these are all my supplies. First thing I'm going to show you is this little pouch right here has my alcohol swabs in it. These are just run-of-the-mill alcohol swabs. There's nothing special or fancy about them because it's for a diabetic, and they're pretty cheap.
They have a money-back guarantee. Look at that.
That's your sign of quality.
Yeah.
Next, I'm going to pull out this other pouch, a little bag here that has my extra needles in it, and these are called lancets. The needle is contained inside this little plastic device. And currently there's no needle exposed, and I'll show you later.
Looks like a little microphone.
I'm going to show you later how we get that put into the device. Next, I've got a canister here. It looks like a little film roll canister that's got my blood test strips in it. There's a number on the side of this that's number 25. Now, when I insert these into the blood glucose meter here, the display will light up and it will show me a number, and that number should correspond to what's on the canister.
So your strips and your canister, the alcohol things are generic. The lancets are kind of generic to your Lancer.
Well, the lancets, these needles are specific to this type of device. Okay. There are different kinds of needles. There are different kinds of delivery systems for the needle.
But the strips and the monitor have to match.
These have to go together.
Okay.
These do. Now then, we're going to take one out, and I'm going to lay it out here, and I'll explain a little something about it to you. The test strip has 2 different ends. It's got this little end here that looks like a barcode. That is the end that's going to go inside the blood glucose meter in order to activate it. And it'll then show you that number we talked about. And then it'll be ready to go. This little end here that looks like a piece of black tape is actually sort of the straw for the blood test strip.
Is there a little tiny vampire in there?
And we can only hope. But once I stick this end of the strip to the blood sample, it will take it up in there.
Do that again.
It will take it up in there and then read the blood sugar amount in it. So we're going to take the meter and set it out here. And I said,
so you know immediately what your blood sugar is.
You will know within 5 seconds. And I'll lay everything out like this when I get ready to test, so that everything's ready to go. This is the device, the lancer that delivers the needle. It's inside the end of this device, and it doesn't stick out. It's up in there. You have
so it's not a big needle.
It's not. It is an almost microscopic needle. And there's a little trigger device here. You pull that back to make sure that the spring-loaded needle is cocked. On this end, you have a dial. And this dial has a number between 1 and 8 that determines the depth at which the needle will pierce the skin. Thicker-skinned individuals like me who have big calloused hands, they're like canned hams, really, with a pack of hot dogs on the end of them.
There's a visual everybody needed.
Yeah, this, I have mine set at 7, which is going to penetrate a little bit deeper. Perhaps older people or young kids that have thinner skins might actually go with a setting between 1 and 4. Now then,
I have sensitive skin. I would never want a 7.
Yeah. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the alcohol swab, tear it open, and we're going to take the swab out.
I feel like I should give you a drum roll with my hands.
Yeah. Now then, I'm going to save this little envelope here, right here, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Now then, I'm going to take the alcohol swab, and I'm going to actually swab the end of your finger. This is important because bacteria and things live on your hand, and if you cook like I do, and you sometimes handle raw chicken or raw eggs or something like that. Pet the cat. Woodfin, that's you. Then you don't want any infections to get in there, because it's real easy to get a blood infection if you're not careful, even from the most tiny of cuts. So we've done that, and I'm going to save this alcohol swab right here as well. And now that my finger is clean, I'm going to take the test strip.
And alcoholics, diabetics are woo, particularly sensitive to infections from things like that.
So we're going to take this, and we're going to insert the strip. I am. I'm going to insert the strip in there. When I do, you'll see that the meter is going to light up. It'll give me that number, 25, that I was looking for, which means it's the correct strip for this meter, so we'll get an accurate reading. And then it's ready to receive the blood sample.
How long do you have from when you put that in until you have to do it?
About 2 minutes before you have to start over. So now I'm going to take the finger that I sanitized, and I'm going to kind of massage some blood down to the tip of the finger.
Are you looking for it to turn like purplish?
No, you just want to massage a little extra blood down there. And so now we're going to take this, and I'm going to push this blue needle right here. And that's all there was to it.
This is a little click.
Yep. And then I can kind of press on this a minute.
So how much blood does the little vampire need?
Just a little dab like that is all it takes. And then we're going to stick this to it. And there it goes. And then it's going to count down from 5 to 1. And when it does, we have the blood sugar. And this says that it's 88. I was a good boy tonight. I had ahi tuna, cooked medium rare and blackened. I had quinoa soup with it, which is lots of fiber and things in that.
Thank you, Christy at the alley.
Yep. Excellent soup, by the way. I will be back for more of that. And I had a salad to go with it, so I got all my fiber and things.
And you drank water. Did you drink water?
I've drank almost nothing but water for 2 months now. So now I'm going to take the swab and get the blood off the end of my finger, and it's already stopped bleeding. And I alternate between fingers, so my fingers never get sore or anything like that, even though I test 3 times a day. Now then, and this is important if someone else is helping you test. You take the swab, wrap it around the end of the meter like that, and you just pull the strip right out.
I think it's important to know here that someone in your circle of that's around you should know how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
For example, my stepfather had his sugar high and didn't know how to do his own.
Yep.
So it's important that somebody else knows how to do this.
Yep. So now I'm going to take this strip and I'm going to put it inside this little package like that. I'm going to take this little scrap of paper and put it in there. And then we're done with that for the moment. I'm still going to save this, however, because I'm going to show you something else. We're going to take the soiled needle out of this and put a fresh needle in. I take the end of the lancer here, just give it a little quarter turn, and it comes right off.
There you can see that needle against the paper.
Yeah.
It is tiny.
And then the priming mechanism has one end where you prime the needle to fire, but it also, this other end will eject the needles. So make sure you're not pointing it at anything. So I just point it down like that, push that,
It falls right out.
and you see how that device, those mechanisms come out.
And that should also be handled with care because it does have a microscopic amount of blood on it.
It does. So then what we're going to do is we're going to pull that trigger mechanism back so that it resets the firing mechanism. And we're going to take the lancet and fit it into here. And then it's important not to bend this off or anything like that because you can bend your needle and it won't fire properly. The way to do this is once you've got it set in there, just take this large end and twirl it around until it just comes right off.
Awesome.
Then we're going to put this back on at a quarter turn, do that, and it resets. Now then, we're going to take this needle very carefully. I'm going to drop it in there, take this in, drop it in there, and then
Always be careful with blood.
carefully fold it over like this so that it's sealed in there. And this is the reason why is we're getting this soiled blood, this soiled needle inside a sanitary pouch. And then I usually have a bottle of water or something that I've drank. And what I'll do is I'll take this and just drop it down in there, seal that
So you don't
back
have to worry
up.
about anybody picking it up accidentally.
No one's going to get accidentally stuck. Now then, the last thing I'm going to do is show you how that I record. I have an app that's called My Sugar. And it comes up like this.
You can't really see it in this. There it is. Okay.
Yeah. And I can do here to add an entry. And it has all kinds of fields and tags and
There we go.
ways to record information.
Now you actually bought this app.
Well, there is a free version.
There's a free version.
But there's a pro version that you can buy that's got a few bells and whistles that you don't necessarily need, but it makes it a little more fun. And when it's fun, then you are compliant, which is the main thing, where you have something and you stick to it. So then I will just record this information in here, and then when I'm done with that, I make sure that I take all my materials, put them back, and have everything reset.
I think we should do another one just on that app because there's a lot of good things in that app
Yeah.
that we don't have time for because we're running out of battery.
Yeah. So we'll do this, put everything back in there, and ready to go.
It goes back in the MERS.
Yeah.
He has a MERS, folks. He really does.
I do. So we'll put that back, and then that's ready to go again. Now then, I hope that was helpful for everyone, so that if you see somebody doing that in a restaurant or something like that, or out in public, you understand, because this testing, a lot of times for some people, it happens around food.
Or somebody needs your help.
So I hope it wasn't too gruesome for everyone. As you can see, no adverse effects or anything, and I hope that I hope none of you ever have to go through this. But the fact is that about 30% of the population has diabetes. So if you have someone in your life, be understanding, and this is a way to be informed, to be helpful with them. Thanks, and have a good night. It's time.